In northern Colombia, fear often arrives on paper. Flyers slipped under doors, plastered on walls, left behind in markets. Flyers that named names. Flyers that promised blood. And for the LGBTQ community, those flyers weren't just warnings. They were death sentences. The threats were merciless. We will not respect ages. We have already identified many. At first, some tried to dismiss them as nothing more than fear tactics. But soon, those promises of violence became horrifying reality. In April 2024, the nightmare spread across social media. A viral video showed 32-year-old trans woman Sara Millerey clinging desperately to the banks of a raging river outside Medellin. Her limbs were broken, her body barely able to move. Dozens of bystanders stood frozen nearby. Some looked on in horror, but none dared to help. Her attackers had made sure of that, threatening anyone who even thought of intervening. Sara held on for as long as she could, but by the next day she was gone. Her death shocked the nation, but the violence did not stop there. Just weeks later, her close friend and fellow activist Nawar Jimenez was found murdered. Only days earlier, she had stood at a protest for Sara, tears streaming behind her sunglasses, vowing her friend's death would not be forgotten. But her words became her fate. Her body was discovered in a ditch on the outskirts of town. For Colombia's LGBTQ community, the message was undeniable. Defiance comes at a deadly price. On paper, Colombia stands as one of the most progressive nations in Latin America. Same-sex marriage is legal. Gender identity can be changed on official documents. The Constitution recognizes the rights of sexual minorities. Yet the reality on the ground tells a very different story. Impunity rules. Hate-driven killings are rarely solved. And in neighborhood after neighborhood, gangs enforce brutal campaigns of social cleansing, hunting those they consider undesirable. To understand these killings, you must first understand the invisible force that rules much of Medellin. Locals call it the office. Behind the city's bustling streets, its shiny malls, and its tourist attractions lies a sprawling criminal network that decides who lives, who dies, and who must disappear. The office isn't a single gang. It's an alliance, a system of power that has controlled entire neighborhoods for decades. Their enforcers are known as the correctors. They hand out warnings. They impose curfews. They punish thieves, suspected sex workers, and drug users. And increasingly, they target queer and trans people, branding them as depravities that must be erased. For those marked by the office, life becomes a waiting game. 2 warnings may come, but the third is never a warning. It's a death sentence. Many whispered that Sara's torture and death could not have happened without the office's approval. And when Nawar was killed just weeks later, the whispers turned into chilling certainty. These were not random acts of cruelty. They were calculated messages. One man, known only as Camilo, has been part of Medellin's gangs since the age of 14. In a rare moment of candor, he revealed the truth so many already feared. No one said anything because of fear. Because I know you. Because you live in my area. If you open your mouth here, we all know what happens next. His words capture the suffocating silence that blankets entire communities. No one dares to speak out. Not neighbors. Not bystanders. Not even the local police. Because to speak is to sign your own death warrant. Authorities did arrest 2 men for Sara's murder. But investigators believe the violence runs much deeper. They suspect that today's so-called social cleansing campaigns are not the work of small-time thugs. Instead, they trace back to Colombia's old paramilitary structures, organizations once backed by powerful elites, structures that never truly disappeared. These groups built their power on terror. Torture, mutilation, and public displays of violence were never just methods of killing. They were methods of control. By making communities remember the horror, they ensured obedience through fear. And today, the cycle continues. Nearly 50 queer and trans people have already been killed this year in Colombia, an average of 2 every week. Behind each number is a face. Family shattered. Community silenced. Sara Millerey's final moments, captured on video, revealed more than just an act of violence. They revealed a system built to terrorize the vulnerable while those at the top remain untouchable. Noir Jimenez's death only confirmed it. This system doesn't just punish. It eliminates anyone who dares to resist. And yet, the arrests, the investigations, and the promises of justice feel hollow. For every low-level killer brought in, the question still hangs in the air. Who is truly pulling the strings? How far does the silence go? And how many layers of power are protecting the shadowy networks behind these crimes? The answers may be far darker than anyone dares to admit. If you've been following this case and want more deep dives into stories like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next upload, and share this video with someone you know who's into true crime. Your support helps us keep bringing you the stories that matter.